The Denver Broncos have come alive. This team is clicking on all cylinders right now, and it's been amazing what they've been able to do. The Broncos get another win, and after starting the season 1-5, when it looked like they were dead in the water, they are now 5-5 thanks to a 21-20 win over the Minnesota Vikings, a thrilling win on Sunday Night Football. It was a last-minute touchdown drive and a dagger of a defensive stand. The Broncos have climbed their way out of the gutter, and Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, and company have to feel pretty good about themselves moving forward here, because I'm going to get to it in just a bit. But the Denver Broncos' path to the playoffs is actually a lot more clear than you think. This team has completely turned their fortunes around, and in today's video, I wanted to make my return on this channel and talk about the Denver Broncos and why this team is clicking right now, and they are in fact coming for everyone. If y'all can do me a solid favor, please hit a like on the video. It helps it a ton, and please subscribe to the channel for more Denver Broncos videos just like this. What the Broncos have demonstrated over the last couple of weeks, they can beat just about anybody. I mean, look at what the Broncos have done on this current winning streak. It's really remarkable if you think about it. They beat the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who had won 6 consecutive games, finally getting the monkey off their back, and beat the Chiefs. Then they followed that up by taking down the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I mean, the Bills were winners of 47 regular season games in the previous 4 seasons going into that matchup. And then, to top it off, on Sunday Night Football this past week, they knocked off a red-hot Vikings team who won 13 games a year ago and brought a 5-game winning streak into Denver. The Broncos just got through that, and they're looking for more. I mean, nobody on the Broncos roster has made a playoff appearance with this team. The last time the Broncos even won 4 games in a row was all the way back in 2016. For many players, including Jerry Jeudy, they have never had this successful of a stretch in Denver. And the Broncos now have their eyes on the playoffs, which once looked like it was going to be unattainable, now looks very plausible. And their best chance is going to be to earn one of the 3 wildcard berths. Of the 3 teams currently holding those spots, I mean, those teams have not been good. And the Broncos have a matchup this week. If they win, they'll be in good shape in terms of getting one of those wildcard spots if they can continue this hot play. The Broncos formula, I mean, you look at how they've been able to win these games, it's been their takeaways, guys. They're creating takeaways at a crazy rate, and that has led to easy scores from those takeaways. And it's really prompting up this offense that once looked like they were dead in the water. The Broncos' 12 takeaways in the past 3 games are the most by any team in a 3-game span in 2 years. And of the past 10 teams that have had 12 turnovers in a 3-game span, 8 made the postseason. The last time the Broncos hit that mark, they actually won their first Super Bowl a couple of months later. If the Broncos can win 4 consecutive games and, they still are motivated for more, there's a great chance that this team can keep on playing past the first week of January. They're the hottest team in the NFL right now, and there's no reason to think that this team can't reel off, a couple more wins here on this winning streak. And you look at what's ahead of the Denver Broncos, a huge matchup against the Cleveland Browns. And the Broncos should be able to beat the Browns. And if they do, that is going to put the Broncos in a great position, because the Browns right now are the current owner of the top wildcard spot. So that should be extra motivating for Sean Payton and this Broncos team to go out there and beat the Cleveland Browns. And you look at the Broncos' rest of the schedule, I mean, they don't necessarily have a tough remaining schedule. They have a Browns team that has a rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. And then they're going to be taking on a Houston Texans team that is playing well, but of course they are beatable. Then they have a road game against the Red Hot Lions. That's going to be a tough one. But then the other 4 remaining games are against losing teams. So if the Broncos are able to have a strong finish here, even like a 5-2 finish, that would put them at 10-7 and likely in the playoffs. I mean, when you look at the AFC, it is actually wide open. Obviously, the injury to Joe Burrow effectively put the Bengals out of the playoff mix. Even the current wildcard teams now very, very sketchy in terms of, are they going to be able to keep this up? They haven't necessarily impressed. So The Broncos are getting hot at the right time. They are a talented football team, and rallying to make the playoffs would in fact be remarkable. And it's usually those types of teams, let's call it for what it is, those types of teams that find themselves in a hole, get out of it, and enter the playoff mix hot. That can very well be a dangerous team in the playoffs. And I called this Broncos team a dangerous dark horse. I mean, I was high on this Broncos team coming in. Obviously, they get off to that terrible start, but now they are starting to click, and it's scary because people forgot how good Russell Wilson can be, how great of a coach Sean Payton can be, and now that they have momentum on their side and they're starting to figure this thing out, it could be very scary for the rest of the AFC. And you got to credit Russell Wilson because he was probably the only guy out there, even probably on his team, that remained optimistic despite the Broncos' struggles and despite the 1-5 start. I mean, he always found a way to pinpoint the positives, always took it upon himself, always, had this belief that this team, he was going to figure it out. And now, that belief is coming to fruition as the Broncos, once the laughing stock of the league, are now a dangerous team that nobody wants to play, especially when their defense is clicking at this rate and they are creating the amount of turnovers that they have been, and the offense is doing its job of completing drives and putting points on the board when they need to. So the Denver Broncos, guys, don't look now, but this is a team that they are getting hot at the right time. And again, in a wide open AFC, I think it is wide open when you look at some of the teams that are, there, some of the teams that have been struggling. The Denver Broncos, I mean, they have proven it that they can beat the best teams in this conference. I mean, they have 2 huge wins against 2 of the best teams, if not the best teams in this conference, and the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. So the Denver Broncos, guys, they are proving everybody wrong right now. The naysayers, the critics who wrote this team off, thought they were headed for just another disastrous season. All of a sudden, they have rose from the dead. And this team looks like they are poised of making a run here that could be good enough to get them into the playoffs. So let me know, Broncos fans, what your reaction has been to this Broncos winning streak. What have been your main takeaways from all of this? How optimistic are you feeling about this Denver Broncos team after what they have shown you over the course of this winning streak? The Denver Broncos look to keep it going. They will be taking on the Cleveland Browns in a huge game with major AFC wildcard playoff implications on the line. So the Denver Broncos better have their best effort because they got to go out there and they got to beat Cleveland. They have left themselves no room for error, after starting 1-5. So they got to just continue racking up these wins and they should be okay in the grand scheme of things. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is it for me. It's Lucas signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.